Hey, Shalom, giving all praises to Yahweh by Shem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles, bishops, elders of Great Millstone. Shalom to you, hopefully elect. And just real quick through the spirit, because for those that may not know, me myself personally, and I'm pretty sure that many other Akim or many other brothers during this time did videos based off this clip that I just showed here. All right. This was back in 2020. I remember it very vividly, and knowing me, my memory is shit. All right, that's why we need those new bodies, because I don't remember shit for shit, But I remember this like it was yesterday. And through the spirit, this video has been recirculating. All right, it's been coming back up. As far as this, like the title, like the heading here, I'll read it. It says, a Lebanese woman taking her bridal photos during the Beirut explosion that killed 218 people in 2020. Now, like I said, if you're not familiar with this particular event or incident that took place, look into it, look it up. Like I said, me myself and I'm sure other Akim, other brothers have done videos on this. And like I said, I remember this like it was yesterday, All right, because hey, at the end of the day, everything ties back to the scriptures. All right, everything, the listen, and I was just that's the spirit, because I was meditating on this the past few days on just how when it comes to questions that people have, and just every little thing in detail, the scriptures, they have the answers for it. All right, the Bible has it. I'll say the Lord has an answer for everything. All right, pertain in the scriptures. Because this is like a prime example of how. Listen, let's get to it real quick. I'm gonna get this. I'm gonna get this in the book of Luke, chapter 17. Let me see where I can start. Luke chapter 17. I'm going to start at verse 26. It says, and as it was in the days of Noah. Well, here it says Noe, but as we know, as we should know, this is in reference to Noah, right? Because I'm going to get this real quick for those that may not know. I'm going to get this in the book of 2 Peter chapter 2. 2 Peter chapter 2, I'm going to start at verse 5. It says, yeah, 2 Peter chapter 2, verse 5. And spare not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person. All right, because understanding that in pretty much every, well, I'll say like in certain points in history throughout time, you always had like a said reserved amount of individuals, or I'll say like an elect within that time period. All right, to where it was already predestined that during this time during such and such time, whether it be the Babylonians, the Babylonian Empire, or like it just read here, or as it's going to go in here, going into the flood, the old world, or the first death. All right. Um, nevertheless, in any event, you always had a reserved elect. All right, those that were already predestined to be saved, to be preserved. I'll say, because no one's saved, unlike these fake and phony Christians like to say. No one is saved until when Yahushua returns, and to those that get beamed up in those chariots. But until then, hey, like I said before, even in the time of the beginning, you always had these preserved individuals. They were predestined to be preserved. All right, and during this time of or prior to the flood. All right, I'm gonna read it again. 2 Peter 2:5. And spread not the old world, but save Noah, the eighth person. All right, because again, at this particular time, it was written that before the Lord, and that's why the Spirit had me refer to this time as the first flood. It's like the first death. All right, the first death. All right, because this second death is going to come by way of fire, nuclear destruction. You see. All right, and just like the first death, where through that lineage, through that line, basically the earth was repopulated, and through that population, because just as a side note, a sidebar, the Lord was always dealing with a chosen seed line. All right, he was always dealing with a chosen seed line. You got people always talking about this weak argument that we all come from Adam, we all come from Abraham and such, we all come from such and such. Well, that's true, but the Lord was always dealing with a chosen seed line, and that is a separate topic for another time. But there was always a chosen seed line, because even through Noah, even through Noah, you got a particular seed line that the Lord was and still is to this day is dealing with, right? But nevertheless, back in 2 Peter 2:5 again, and spare not the old world, but save Noah, the eighth person. Because like I was saying, at this particular time, the elect at this time be Noah. All right, Noah, and those that came up under his vibration. And I just say it like that because through the Spirit, there is another video I want to do, because let me not. I'm not going to jump the gun. But nevertheless, Noah and those 8 souls that were saved at this time. All right, those were the elect. That Noah was the elect at this time. All right. But it says, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly. So that's the point. All right, a preacher of righteousness. You see, the preacher of righteousness. That's just the point that I want to make, because Noah at his time, he was a prophet. All right, and it's not far-fetched, because often thinking about Noah, it's just like, because again, you gotta picture it, you gotta imagine it, and that's why I said it's not far-fetched, because we can see it today. Hey, Noah at his time, he was talking, he was preaching things, he was prophesying things that was unprecedented. All right, he was talking about things that prior to the flood, prior to his time. And you get a glimpse of that today. Like, you have certain individuals, man, they talk about certain things 10, 20, 30 years ago, and it's just like we hear about those things now, and it's like, man, he was ahead of his time. Well, on a much higher level, Noah, he was one of those individuals who was just like, man, he was talking about things that was he was ahead of his time. All right, because he was prophesying about unprecedented events. He was talking about unprecedented things. And Slakia, speaking this bastard's language, my speech is not all, but nevertheless, because what was Noah talking about? He was talking about rain. How it was going to rain, and at that time it was, that was something that they're like, you talk about raining, because at that time it was a time where how did the Lord water the earth? It was through that dew, right? The dew of heaven, right? Um, so of course they looked at Noah like he was crazy. But it's the same thing today. Hey, we're telling you it's going to rain down missiles. The prophets, the men of the Lord are telling you how it's going to rain down missiles, right? And people, they have that same feeling like, what the hell are y'all talking? What the hell are y'all talking about? As if these other nations, they're stocking up on missiles, and as if they're just going to be, put in some museum just to be looked at. Nah, man, those missiles are going to be put to use. But it is what it is. It is what it is. All right. But nevertheless, going back to it, and back in Luke chapter 17. Luke chapter 17 and verse, where was I at? Verse 26. Luke 17 and 26. And as it was in the days of Noah, so shall it be also in the days of the Son of Man. Because again, here it is, the prophets are out on the highways and byways, again, prophesying like Noah was of unprecedented events. Like Noah, a preacher of righteousness. All right, he was a preacher, he was a prophet, he was prophesying. All right, and hey, niggas looked at him like he was crazy, of course, and that's how it's supposed to be. Nevertheless, it says, verse 27, they did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given into marriage. So you see, and again, that's why this particular clip, is cold. All right, this particular clip is cold because, hey, and this was back in 2020, in the heat of all this what's been going on. To this day, you still got people that they're just going on about their day-to-day lives as if that normacy by your spirit, man. Like, it's cold. The Lord really is cold, man. He's cold. He's cold-hearted. He's cold-blooded. Because people are really just, oh well, this so-called quote unquote, this world crisis, and everything that's been going on ever since 2020, man, it's just a thing in the past now, and we're just gonna move on and just bounce back and rebuild. And these people, they have a false sense of optimism, a false sense of hope. All right, so with that being said, they're just going to business as usual, and that's the spirit. Because when you read on verse 27 again, they did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage. So you see, people were living it up. All right. People were getting married, having children, trying to. It's cold because, again, in 2023, we're about to be in 2024 pretty soon. People are still, even though this American dream has turned out to be a nightmare, people are still holding on and cleaving on to this, like I said, this false hope of just, if I just partake in the system and just give me an education, you know, the whole white picket fence, right? I'm gonna marry a woman and have a bunch of children and get me a degree, and people are still clinging on to that. People are still hoping, you know, like I said, this false, this facade, man, right? But basically, hey, at the end of the day, business as usual. We see it every weekend, week out, every Saturday at the camp. You know, people are still just they work Sunday to Sunday to Saturday, Sunday to Friday. I'll say Sunday to Friday just to they work Sunday to Friday just to, you know, that you know, those few hours on Saturday to where they could just, you know, blow it and you know, just they're still clinging on to this false sense of hope. You know, it's just business as usual, and people are walking around like this is how it's supposed to be, when this is not how it's supposed to be whatsoever. This is not how it's supposed to be whatsoever, man. So nevertheless, to these people, it's still business as usual, right? You see, because hey, even during back to the time of going back to the time of Noah, people were just, because again, you know, that's why I said it's not far-fetched, because hey, Noah, he wasn't just telling people, hey, it's gonna rain, you know, it's gonna rain. No, again, it's not far-fetched, because hey, you know, as detailed as the men of the Lord are today, listen, you could just picture it and imagine how it was back then. Hey, Noah, he was back there telling people, hey man, there's a flood coming. You simple Negroes, you know, you can just imagine, like, hey, you simple Negroes, y'all better get right. Y'all better repent. All y'all gonna flood out here. You know, we could just imagine. Like Noah was telling cats, like, hey man, y'all niggas gonna drown out here. You babies, you pregnant women, all y'all niggas gonna die. We could just imagine. We could picture. You know, that's why the Apostle Gabar always says, man, you got to be a visionary. Hey, Noah, as well as all the prophets, man, they were painting this picture, man. Like, hey, man, y'all niggas gonna die. Y'all better repent. Y'all better get it right, because what's coming? Hey, man, you know, and again, man, like Noah, you can just imagine him telling them, like, hey, man, y'all niggas gonna die. The water's gonna fill up to y'all lungs, and y'all gonna suffocate. Y'all gonna Noah. I'm pretty sure, just speaking expression through the Spirit, I'm pretty sure Noah, he was getting detailed with it. He was getting graphic with it, just like the men of the Lord today. Brothers be getting detailed with it, man, you know. But it's not enough. And that's why, like the head brother Nahoya always says, man, hey, that's why the demonstration, it has to take place. That's why the demonstration is necessary. You know, because I always say there's no amount of words that can describe, all right, our words will never do justice. That's why the Lord, he's just going to have to perform it. You see, and that's when niggas are going to get it. That's when niggas are going to come to understand. But by then it's going to be too late. So again, in Luke 17:27, they did eat, they drank, they married wives, they were given in marriage. So a business as usual. Niggas were living it up, right? Like I said, every Saturday we see it downtown Orlando, right? You know, niggas in an alley somewhere, you know, popping some woman that's probably more than likely 9 times out of 10 she's married. All right, you know, but yet she's getting popped in somewhere in the alley, right? You know, they were given in marriage. It said they married wives. So you see that's the point. Like this clip, man. Hey, because like I mentioned earlier, hey, Um, people in this normacy by your spirit, like, man, I'm just going to get me a degree. I'm going to get me a good job, and I'm just going to marry, have some children. And, the whole false, American dream, which has been turned out to be a nightmare. People are still holding on to this. People are still cleaving on to this, right? But when you read on, it says, until the day that Noah entered into the ark, and the flood came and destroyed them all. So you see, man, and that's a scary thing, because the scriptures, or the Lord rather, he emphasizes on sudden destruction. All right. One day, as I was mentioning, man, it's just going to be a business as usual. Business as usual, right? And that applies to Lord willing, to those of us, all right, the hopefully elect, and to these people out here. They're just in that normacy by spirit. They're just they think that they're just gonna wake up and just, it's just gonna be another day of partying, smoking, drinking, another day of just, you know, again, just speaking expressly through the spirit. Hey, that might be a day where, hey, that might be the big wedding day. That might be the wedding day. And that just might just so happen to be the day that all hell breaks loose. Jacob's trouble is in full effect. The mandation of the MOTB. These are things that people don't really consider, man. People really don't. The Lord is cold. All right. We say that time and time out, but listen, the time is going to come where it's like, man, damn, those guys were right, man. And you best believe with Noah, when he entered into that ark, because again, going back to how, hey, it was business as usual, right? Like I just read here in Luke 17:27, right? It was business as usual, right? Wait, Noah, he didn't know when the flood was coming. He thought that, it was just another day in the office. Like a lot of us like to say, it's just another day in the office. And niggas come up to the camp talking shit. It's another day in the office. All right, another day with scoffers, and it's just another day in the office. So, Noah back then, listen, he entered into the ark, and I just imagine, again, speaking expressly through the spirit, like, because it said until the day that Noah entered into the ark. So, you could just picture, you could just imagine those 8 souls, the spirit had to where they were all in that ark. They just so happened to be in the ark. They were probably, just following orders, right? Or they just so happened to be there all at once, whatever the case may be, But we know for sure that, hey, Noah, he was about business, all right? He was building that ark. He was doing what he was supposed to do, all right? And it just so happened, however it played out, Noah, Noah and those 8 souls, man, they were in that ark, and Noah thought it was just another day in the office. It was just, another one of those days where, um, just another day in the office, right? But it was that one day. It was that one day where you probably heard just a loud noise, a boom, or something, right? Because the scriptures talk about how, hey, the Lord, he sealed the ark. Slakia. I don't want to put a false doctrine out there or anything, but we believe that the Lord sealed that ark. All right, Noah didn't seal the ark, but the Lord did. All right, the Lord sealed that ark, and like I was saying, it just so happens to where, hey, Noah and those eight souls, they were on the ark. All right, they were on the ark, and like I said, just speaking expressly through the spirit, just speaking as a man, they heard some noise. All right, they probably heard a big door slam or whatever it was. Because it's likewise us today. Because I'm pretty sure, I can speak for most. I can speak for, Akim, Pretty much at this point, man, it's just like, man, at this point, it's just like on a day-to-day basis, man, it's just like, man, brothers be meditating on videos to do, brothers meditate on lessons, precepts, to come up with precepts for lessons, and that's pretty much at this point. That's all I can be worrying about, man. Everything else is secondary or irrelevant at that, But the day's gonna come where, hey, a brother is, he's gonna be in that process of, hey, another day in the office. So a brother might be studying, a brother might be, gathering up some precepts to do a lesson, or he might be in the middle of a live. Believe it or not, he might be in the middle of a live or in the middle of a camp. Brothers might be in the middle of a camp, and then this is gonna be something. Something's gonna happen. All right, something's gonna happen, and this is gonna be like, oh shit, And again, going back to Noah, again, speaking as a man, it was probably one of those things where it's just like, oh shit, because again, it's just another day in the office, right? Noah, he thought it was another day in the office. Let me fix this up. I'm gonna, tend to the animals, whatever. And then he heard something, or something happened, and it, from there, hey, it started raining. It just started raining, right? It just started raining, you know. So again, in this, in our time, hey, something's gonna happen where it's just gonna be another day in the office for brothers, man. While everyone else it's gonna be business as usual for them, right? And then out of nowhere, it's just gonna be something's gonna happen, whether it be, and we've talked about this time in and time out, man. Whether it be in the form of a blackout, or it could become in the form of an invasion, of some foreign troops, whatever. All right, the MOTB might get mandated that day. Something's gonna happen, and this is gonna be like, oh shit, this is it. Because as I've been quoting in reference to the Apostle Tahar, hey, in that day, we are not going to have to question. We're not going to have to question, hey, is this Jacob's trouble? No, we're going to know in that day. So something's going to happen, and we're going to know, like, oh shit, here we go. Here we go. As we're sitting back patiently waiting, man, hey, it's going to be another day in the office, and out of nowhere, it's just going to be one of those things, man. It's just going to be like, hey, here it is. Let's go. Come on with it. Come on with it. Because we can't wait. Because it is easy to get disenchanted, and, it's easy to get disenchanted, and just, just like, man, just get caught up in the midst of just, the bullshit that brothers deal with on a day-to-day basis. It's easy, but the day's gonna come where it's just like, oh shit, that time is coming real soon. Like Romans 13:11, our salvation is nearer than what we believed. And that's why the scriptures, the Lord emphasizes on not getting caught up into the affairs of this life, not getting entangled with the things of this life, man, because the time is gonna come where, hey, in a moment's notice, hey, things are gonna change. All right, things are gonna change. And again, man, just speaking expressly through the Spirit, just speaking as a man, because I believe that time is coming. Is coming vastly, man, because just more and more the Lord, it's like he's more and more trimming the fat. All right, just getting rid of unnecessary Salaki. He it's like more and more the Lord is getting rid of these unnecessary necessities. Brothers are losing more and more things, and it's just like, man, the Lord is really just more and more getting us to a point where we're not too attached. The Lord is making us more and more detached, and that's what I'm saying. Like, man, it's just Lord willing, because it's just like, man, the Lord, we're coming into that time, man, while everyone else is out here just partying and bullshitting. Like I just read Luke 17, man, hey, partying and bullshitting, man. All right. Business as usual, right? What it applies both ways. Business as usual to these people, right? Just partying and bullshitting, right? Well, hey, to those of us Lord willing, the hopefully elect, hey, another day in the pertaining to the things of the Lord's house and the Lord's business, you know. But Lord, one of this was edifying. All praises to you. How about Shemel Shai? Shalom to you. Hopefully elect into the next one. Shalom.